What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, the podcast episode. You tell me, because I don't remember. I don't keep track, but welcome back. I hope you are enjoying MLB The Show 23. We're on to week 2 of its life cycle, and nothing is incredibly broken yet. Some things are a little broken, but nothing's incredibly broken, so we take that as a small victory. I have a guest today. I told you we'd be talking about storylines today, and that's because my friend MechaReptar is here, because he also loves storylines, and we're going to have ourselves a little discussion.
Yes, sir.
So, storylines, I completed it. We're recording this on Friday, March 31st, just so everybody knows. Transparency. And I finished it this morning. I purposely did not do it on drop weekend because I wanted to know life all the grinding. And I really wanted to savor and pay attention to storylines because everyone was saying it was great. And they were right. It was phenomenal. And I'll just let you share. Yeah, I'll let you share your thoughts first because I know you have good, strong opinions about it, and we both enjoy it. So,
yeah, I mean, I did that day one on stream. That was immediately for me. And what sold me, what we were talking about before, was the passion from Ramon, and like seeing him get like choked up like that about it. And then Bob Kendrick sold it more than anyone else could. And just being able to play it and hearing about these players outside of Satchel Paige or Jackie Robinson was amazing because a lot of these guys were just extraordinary people and players to the game that just never got a chance like they should have.
Yeah,
And
I learned so much. Even though we both agree there needed to be more history, I learned so much in like the 6 minutes of videos they had per player.
oh, dude, it was insane learning about these guys and then seeing the moments. Like the one that sticks in my mind was Satchel Paige, where he had his infield come in and take a knee and the outfield come in and take a knee. And I'm sitting there like, okay, like that's cool. Like, all right, they'll still be there in the background when you're playing the game, whatever. And then just seeing the players come in and then watching from the strike zone view, which it was amazing to see them kneeling behind you and there's an infield of no one, and then realizing that this actually happened. Like,
I play with pitcher view when I do everything. I've just always liked the view from behind the pitcher. I wish for that one they would have made you pitch from behind the catcher to see everything. That would have been cool. One of the one minor gripes I have, if they would have switched that would have been super dope. Because yes, that was also my favorite moment.
Yeah, because like you hear that and you're like, all right, sure, whatever, grandpa, like thanks for the story. And then you actually like see it unfolding, and then like even in a video game, like you had extra like I don't know about you, but I had extra pressure to make sure my pitches were exactly where I needed them.
I kind of wanted, it didn't happen because I ended up doing just fine on that moment, but I kind of wanted to see what would happen if I let up a little squib down the third baseline, if it just rolled forever and just like the guy just walked himself home. That would have been fun. And John Donaldson had a moment kind of similar where like after every out, he called another person to go sit in the dugout. He's like, we don't need you no more.
One too. It's just, it was so much fun. And, you know, again, we said this previously, like my only complaint about it was I wish it was longer. It was just a mode that I didn't want to end. And then hearing Bob Kendrick say about all the brothers and sisters in the Negro Leagues. And then like there was that little interaction that we had on Twitter about female players within the Negro Leagues. And then he just gave a little like and a wink to it. Like, it's coming, and I can't wait to see how it's done.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to see something monumental in a game that just a lot of people, I would assume, do not know anything of. I didn't know about female players until I looked it up to see, because like you gave that little hint, like, hey, Mr. Kendrick, what are we looking forward to in the future? Because I heard, you know, sisters, is there women? And then I found that list, and it's like, oh my God, like there's so much more history behind the Negro Leagues that we never knew about.
I am looking forward to certainly the future of this. You know, it probably took me anywhere between, sorry, as I get something out of my eye here, it probably took me anywhere from like 20 to 30 minutes per player to finish their storyline. Because it's about anywhere from 6 to 10 minutes of video and history, and then however long it takes you to do the moments. Some moments you do the first try, like all you have to do is get an RBI, so you just hit a sac fly. And then some of them, I struggled to hit a home run with, which one was it? Hank Thompson. For some reason, I couldn't lift the damn ball with this man. So that,
you know, I had that same issue with Hank Thompson's mission too. I couldn't get the ball to get some lift behind it.
Yeah, so there were a couple missions where you're just like, but they're not hard. They're just annoying. So anywhere between like 20 to 30 minutes per. It was super, super fun. I am so excited to see where it goes. And it is stunning how much national attention this is getting. NBC
That's
News,
another thing
ABC News,
too.
CNN. I mean, they wrongly said that Jackie Robinson's in the game for the first time. He was only a cover 2 years ago.
But see,
Whatever.
that lets you know, which is even more
That they don't
immense.
pay attention, except right now they are.
Yeah, like the game to us is on such a wide scope because we're all MLB The Show players or streamers, content creators, what have you. And then like you look at what Twitch is or YouTube, and it's such a small sliver of that viewership.
Oh God, we're nothing. We're the drop in a
Yeah.
bucket. Yeah.
Yeah, but then like to see all this national coverage about it, like it was just the right thing at the right time.
Yeah,
Because
and
this game needed that.
it
This
did.
game needed something like this.
It needed something new and different, which certainly this is. It was not a 5-hour time sink. It was like 5 hours of value.
Yeah.
Both in terms of the rewards you got, and of course, I'm assuming all of these guys will get 99s at some point.
That's what I was wondering too, if they will get 99s.
I mean, if they're going to call
that card art is so good.
If they're calling Satchel Paige the best pitcher of all time, and I'm not debating that, I'm just saying it. You can't just give him a 90. You got to give the guy a 99. So I'm hoping that happens. I've learned that Satchel Paige might be the coolest motherfucker in the history of the world.
Bro, speaking of that,
dude's
I just love the
incredible.
small detail of giving his nickname for pitches, and you could switch to it. Just the littlest bit of detail.
Yeah.
And that was one of the coolest things. I'm like, I want to throw a b-ball.
Yeah,
I don't know what a fastball is. I want to throw b-balls.
Satchel Paige might be the coolest guy in the world, and Buck O'Neil might be the sweetest, nicest man on earth. Rest in peace, Buck O'Neil.
When Ramon said do Buck O'Neil last, that was the correct call. Because something about that ending was just, I don't know, it was the culmination of everything, but it was just a sweet way to end it. It was a perfect cherry on top.
See, I listened to Ramon, and I think you told me as well, save it for last. So I did it last, and it was total payoff. I was fully in support of doing that. I kind of thought that Bob Kendrick would have a little more like personal sentiment in it because he and Buck O'Neil were friends, and the only reason Bob Kendrick loves the Negro League Museum so much is because Buck O'Neil introduced it to him. Yeah. So I kind of thought there'd be like some personal stories in there and stuff. Not that I'm let down by the fact that it wasn't, but it was definitely it went a little bit of a different direction than I thought. I'm so excited to see the next crop of players. We already know that they saved Josh Gibson. He's coming.
Which is a big deal. And it's just like, it's when you're thinking about that too, like such a big name to headline the next crop of players, right? And even when
you can't go too big too fast. You got to save somebody.
Yeah, you have to save them. And it's like, the only thing, there's a couple things I hope they change for the following years, because when this first came out, I was hard set on, okay, I think it's going to be one of those things where you can pick where you choose to begin, and then in the next set or next season, then you get to pick another player, and then you get to pick another player, and keep going with that.
I see. So
you know what I'm saying? Because
you didn't think you'd be able to fly through it too fast.
Exactly. Like, not that it took away from anything, but like I thought that these cards would have been like, I was surprised they all weren't 99s to begin with, but then again, I get it because it's to be end game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then also it's like, you hear about baseball, like, oh, we've never had two-way players like Shohei Ohtani, but then you have guys who are pitchers, catchers, first base and second base and third,
like Martin Dihigo, who's the best player at every position ever.
Yeah, he's also my bench guy.
Crack
he's my guaranteed
swing.
Bench guy.
Insane swing he has.
The swings too are too sweet. I mean, it's just a crazy addition, especially with the DH too. Like, now you can have these guys in your lineup and like feel good about it. Especially with the captaincy with Buck O'Neil. I think everyone raises to like a 95 almost, from what I understand.
My thing, talking about suggestions for moving forward with it, it sounds funny, we're lifting it up and then saying, oh, but do this differently. But like, it's like the whole, you give a mouse a cookie, now you want a glass of milk type of situation. But if they can create storylines in such a way that each player's narrative weaves into the next, and it's not you choose where to start. This is the first one, then you move yourself along the path. Like Ramon was saying, do Buck O'Neil last. Well, you should have made him last. Like, it's fine that you didn't. I'm not upset about it. But if you really wanted us to experience it fully, just make it last. So if they had a way to like unlock a progression path as you go along and really weave the narratives together, whether that be by like chronological order or by maybe certain players interacted with each other, and then it leads into something like that. I think that'd be super cool, and that would take the narrative to like a next level.
Like the passing of the torch to the next crop of players and whatnot.
Yeah.
And like we'd mentioned it off screen, like he did say brothers and sisters. And
I'm so excited to see where that goes because we've never had, other than your friend Kyle creating Betty White the Cap, we've never had
yeah.
a female player in MLB The Show.
And then like my thing is, will that lead to a Cap being a family, being a female player? Like that alone
Yeah, that
opens up
opens
doors for
doors.
so many things of just a different type of representation in the game that we haven't had before.
Because we know this is not shocking to, at least it shouldn't be. There are people, females, who play MLB The Show. And, you know, baseball by nature historically has been all men, but there are women breaking down barriers now in like college baseball, in amateur baseball, and there might even be in minor league baseball. There's certainly coaches now. Like, it is not shocking for this to be a possibility.
Real quick, also, I just pulled a yellow diamond.
Oh?
I'll tell you who it is in a second. Hold on.
What pack did it come from?
Yu Darvish, base pack. Let's go!
Wow, what is that, a nice 100K, 90K?
41,000. But
wow,
hey,
what a shit gold diamond to pull.
I need it.
That's wild. I mean, we're both trying to complete collections, so any stubbies help.
Yeah.
I just finished the American League today, by the way, listeners. So Mark McGuire and his enormous penis are mine.
He will be mine soon.
He's very close, and I'm very excited for Sammy Sosa. Derek Jeter might be the best card ever created. His swing in BR is unfair.
I've only played with the 99 because...
Dude, it's electric.
I think I even said it in the last stream when we were talking about this. I mean, the last podcast when we were talking about this. And I was on the borderline of taking a break or continuing playing. And I mentioned, I'm not sure if it was you or it was just a friend of mine. I mentioned that, like, if Derek Jeter's in the game, I'm playing it. Like, I'm a shill. And I saw Jeter. I looked at the wife, and she's like, "Yeah, I know you're gonna play it this year." And his 99 swing is so sweet.
Dude, he is. They unfairly juiced him.
Oh,
biased Yankee homer here. I don't give a shit. But yeah, like 96 fieldings, quite the stretch. As is 99 power.
I saw that and I'm like, okay. Like,
sure. I fully expected, like, oh, they're going to juice his fielding to, like, maybe he'll get to 85 with parallel 5. And then here we are at 96 off rip, and I'm like, whoa.
I was saying for a while that his card, defensively speaking, at most should be about as good as Jimmy Rollins' diamond.
Yeah, and that was fine. You don't need a ton of defense here. Everything is input-based now, especially the throwing.
Oh, my God.
His arm is strong enough anyway. In real, like, he had a strong arm, so it's good that they gave him that. But the fielding at 96 is rough.
I mean, it's an imaginary game. We could pretend that Jeter was a Gold Glover.
I mean, he kind of was. Technically speaking, he was. It's not one of those Gold Gloves where, like, in the early 90s, Rafael Palmeiro played 27 games at first base and won it over Tino Martinez. That's different. That's different. He at least played shortstop. He stood there and did his darndest. But yeah, so back to storylines. We digress. We had to take a little tangent here. One of my favorite things about storylines, and I think it accomplished it, was maybe, we talk about we wanted them to be longer. And I don't think either of us would have complained if they were. But I think they did a good job of opening the door to, like, this is Martin Tehigo. Go research on your own.
Yes.
Like, and I think there's valuable
learning you wanted to know more about.
Yeah, there's valuable learning that's done on your own where they can't just spoon feed you nice, pretty graphics and sounds. Like, you need to go read something or, like, go watch. Well, there's not really videos of players this old, but, like, watch videos of people talking about like stuff like that. Go to the museum. I hope the museum has waiting lists to get in.
Oh, dude, we already talked about, my wife and I were talking about, like, we have to go to the museum. Like,
I'd love to go.
She doesn't care for this game at all. But, like, when I was playing it, like, and I was telling her stories, like, she found it very interesting, some of these players. And they were smart with the people they picked for the pure fact of versatility.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they picked the right players for pure versatility that would have people force the conversation of getting them into their lineup rather than just doing it, collecting it, and then going off on their way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't have much of a reason to ever go to Kansas City. Not that that's not shitting on Kansas City. It's just, like, what else is in Kansas City? But, like, I'd go for that.
Bobby Witt's in Kansas City.
I'd pass through for it.
Bobby Witt's there too.
Bobby Witt's in Kansas City. Yeah, go. That's true. Yeah. I would love to go. I also do need to revisit Cooperstown because the only time I went to Cooperstown was when I was like 12 or 13. And it was more of a museum than I thought, if that makes sense. I kind of thought it would feel like an attraction, and it didn't. But if I went now as an adult, I'd also be able to see whatever Negro Leagues memorabilia was there and embrace that too. Because I'm down. I'm ready to learn.
It's funny you say that, and I haven't gone yet because I just wouldn't have appreciated it when I was younger.
Mhm.
But my friend said something that made sense to me, and hearing you say that, he goes, "The Baseball Hall of Fame Museum is like The Office. When you're younger, you kind of want to watch it, but you don't appreciate it for what it
Yeah.
is. And then as you get older, then The Office becomes one of the best comedies you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. I
Same
also
thing
went
with
with like,
with the museum.
I went with my family when like my brother was at it. He's 5 years younger than me. So he was at an age where like patience was not his thing. My dad's like, oh, let's just get through this. My mom's like, has no idea what the hell's going on. She's never touched a baseball in
Yeah.
her life. So like I couldn't really experience it. I was the baseball person. I wanted to be there. I remember my favorite part about the town was all the memorabilia shops. Literally the entire road leading up to the museum is card store, card store, card store.
That's
bats,
cool though.
dude, it's sick.
Get that, honey? Card stores. My wife rolling her eyes
It's
and clutching her
crazy.
wallet.
It's so cool. I mean, who knows how much it's changed since I've been there because collecting is now like a huge thing again. So the memorabilia
without a
stores are
doubt.
probably off the wall.
Well, it's cool. One of the big people that I collect that I break with here on the island, his favorite player was Jackie Robinson, and he has a case of just things from the Brooklyn Dodgers back then.
Oh, that's sick.
Like he even has an old school Jackie Robinson doll, like the hard plastic ones.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's just cool that I can like see these things, and he's like let me hold some of them with like gloves on, of course.
Yeah.
But like holding that kind of history is scary, terrifying.
Yeah, it's like,
amazing.
wow, this shit's old. And if I accidentally sneeze or drop it, it is ruined.
I know, and I can't run that fast away. I'm fat, so I can't run that fast. So I'm not going anywhere.
You bring up Jackie Robinson, and that was one of the things that I was not sold on about storylines. I'm like, why is Jackie Robinson in that? And that's not to take away from his legacy. I think we're all taught about Jackie Robinson in school. Like we learn about him and kind of get the gist. Now, of course, storylines gave us a little bit more, but I felt like I would have rather have an eighth new person to learn about as opposed to Jackie.
I agree with you on that because we know his story. I mean,
yeah, Bob
it was one
Kendrick
of
gave
Chadwick
us
Boseman's
more,
best movies
but
ever.
still.
Was Jackie was when he played 52.
Yeah,
And I mean, sorry, 42.
42.
And it's not that we didn't need to know more, but with Jackie Robinson, it's kind of the Spider-Man effect. We know the backstory, we know the origin. Yes, we can learn a little bit more here or a little bit more there, but it's not like we need to hear that story again. And it's not taking away from his accomplishments whatsoever.
Oh, not at all.
We know about Jackie Robinson because he is one of the greatest players. It's just that with this new mode, Jackie just felt like a piece you had to get through, not a piece you wanted to watch again, if that makes sense. Like you're just doing it to do it and then move on to the next.
I think Jackie, well, certainly me saying I think Jackie Robinson's big enough is not a revelation, but I think Jackie Robinson is big enough to where maybe he could have been part of the intro to storylines. Like, yeah, you all know Jackie Robinson, but if you come to the museum, you'd also learn this about Jackie Robinson. And so now here are 8 storylines of 8 amazing players you don't know much about. Boom, 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 boom. Like you can incorporate it all in that way. Because it's also like part of the draw of storylines is that it was new legends for us to use. And like, I'm not bored of Jackie Robinson, but I've used him.
Not at all.
I've used him before. I don't need to like, there's no grind to get him. I know what Jackie Robinson's going to be like. I have no idea what John Donaldson's going to be like, who is also a super cool fella. So I'm interested to see the direction that they go down next, because this is a 5-year contract. This was the first year of 5 years. It doesn't necessarily say there's going to be 8 every year. Maybe next year there's 10. Maybe there's 20.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. Just before we went live, I'm looking at a list of some of the 10 greatest Negro League players.
We probably didn't even get half of them.
Bro, I'll tell you this right now. On the list of players we have here versus who we got in the game being as amazing as they are, because the bar has been set. Josh Gibson, not in the game.
Willard Brown's probably on there because Bob Kendrick said that man's name 100 times
Oh,
during
dude, the
storylines.
only name on this list that we got is Satchel Paige.
Mhm.
You have players coming out like Oscar Carlson. His comparisons were Willie Mays
Interesting.
or Josh Gibson. It says here Johnny Bench, but a better hitter. John Henry Pop Lloyd.
I like
Shortstop.
him. I like his name.
Yep. Honus Wagner is his comparable person. Buck Leonard, comparables. Lou Gehrig and Jeff Bagwell. Dude, it's just like the list of, and the names are flawless. Turkey Stearns.
Oh, I want him tomorrow. I want there to be.
Outfielder?
I'll pay $100 for another DLC just to get Turkey Stearns.
Dude, it's just outfielder Carl Yastrzemski. Like these names, Cool Papa Bell. Give me Cool Papa Bell.
I don't know anything about Cool Papa Bell, but I've heard his name before.
All I need is this. Comparisons. Ichiro Suzuki, Kenny Lofton. I need Cool Papa Bell in the game now, please, Ramon.
Yeah. So looking at who we do have, they gave us a combination of the Pioneers, Rube Foster. You can't have, Buck O'Neill, who is a pioneer, not necessarily for the NLB, but for like becoming the first Black Scout. He is a pioneer in his, and then of course the museum, he was there, he made it. And then you have like the guys you've heard of, but you need to know more about. Satchel Paige. Jackie Robinson, I guess, is how they interpreted Jackie Robinson. Then you have Hilton Smith and John Donaldson, who fit in the same category of the best who you've never heard their names before.
Yes, and I love how they were doing that too. I love how all of them had like their nicknames.
Yes,
love that they were talking about.
Hank Thompson was the guy who could have been one of the greatest ever, but kind of flamed out a little bit. They never went into detail about that, and I planned on researching that. And then lastly, it was Martin Dihigo, because they wanted to showcase that the NLB was not just for Black players. This man was Cuban, and he had a place there.
Yeah.
I think they did a great job, like, covering all bases in this first attempt at storylines, and now they could just feed us the best.
And that's why I wonder, because I think a big moment, and this was the biggest gripe with last year versus this year, you got to wonder if remember they talked about how you could use Ohtani the same way the Angels use him? You could pitch him, then DH him.
Oh, you know why it works now.
Yeah, like I'm wondering if that was the catalyst to get this done. And like, don't get me wrong, for a lot of people listening, last year was rough on a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
But in my firm opinion, because of what we're seeing in this game, right? I firmly believe that they didn't abandon last year to work on this year. I think this year was such a giant undertaking that they're like, if we get anything right, it's got to be this game.
Oh, and it was, these little critiques, suggestions, complaints we have aren't even ones like they're going to be laughed at because of how good this mode is. This mode is almost perfect.
They're not even complaints. It's like we hope for this
because we want more.
Yeah, we want more, and we feel like this would make this better. Like, make it longer, make it like you said before. Like, who's say who we're going to get next year? Like, we don't know. Like, again, we could get some female players that we have never heard of.
I was confident that this would be, I didn't know how good it would be. I was confident that it would be worth our time after that dev stream that announced it. Yes. Not only, you could tell that Ramon had incredible passion for it. That was number one. Bob Kendrick became a superstar that day in our community.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, if he's involved, this is going to be banging. And I said this I even think I said it in the podcast that came out right after that stream. The guy who's like the lead storyteller on this, his name is Jared Schiff. Shout out to Jared. He followed me on Twitter. He is an Emmy-winning ESPN 30 for 30 writer and like narrator. Well, not narrator, like producer of storytelling. Like,
that's awesome.
They hired, I don't know if they hired him exclusively for this or if he's been there for a while, but regardless, he has a background in Emmy-winning storytelling. There was no shot this was going to suck.
No.
There was no shot.
Never going to. And it's funny when I think about it because, like, you always have toxic parts of the community, and there were the toxic parts of, like, what's the point of this and that. And then what I love the most, there's two things I loved about those streams outside of Bob Kendrick and Ramon's passion. One, Ramon flipped the community on a dime when it came to him.
Oh, yeah.
Sadly enough, Ramon is the lightning rod for everyone's.
He's
like,
still
where
a
are the
meme.
diamonds, Ramon?
But I think he's a loving meme now. Yeah.
It's a meme within a meme. And like seeing how quick his passion turned to everybody. Like I was watching it with my wife and baby, and like I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is awesome. Like seeing that kind of passion, because like some people think that SDS is full of stoic people who just spit out a game every year, and they don't realize how much they actually care about it. And seeing how much that he cared was awesome.
Yeah, that gave me full confidence.
And then the community itself, how excited we all were about this. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone that at least that I was seeing, you know, outside of the people who were the people, whatever, but people were justifiably excited about this mode. I fell in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've already rewatched some of the stories like once or twice while I'm just hanging out downstairs, like just with the baby, just chilling.
Yeah, this might be a very naive thing to say, and I'm sure I'll be blasted over the coals in the comments if it is. This might be the most widespread national exposure the MLB has gotten since it was active. Like, honestly, it might be.
What, they're talking about the game in general?
Yeah, it being in storylines. It might be.
I would say so. I would firmly say so.
This is the most interest people have had in it probably in decades, and that's unfair, but that's also partly why it's in the game.
But also, mind you, this is also the most active it's been that isn't people being upset about what's happened in the game.
Well, yeah. Yes.
Because, you know, you go on, justifiably, last year was a rough year for a lot of people that played the game. And you know what? A lot of people were very upset and vocalized. This year, though, man, like just seeing how the coverage and people are saying this is the greatest mode they've put into a game. Like people comparing to NBA, where I read one where the Michael Jordan storyline, amazing, doesn't even touch this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's Michael Jordan. Like people,
yeah,
you know what I mean? That's a bigger game.
Ramon is literally doing national interviews on ABC News. Like Ramon is becoming. I hope he doesn't leave us. He's becoming a celebrity.
Yeah, Ramon, you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, Ramon,
Ramon, stay. We love you.
Yeah, you are SDS for life. You are the Aaron Judge of SDS. You are never leaving.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed to.
Yeah. I loved like top to bottom, like the storytelling, like I said, of course it was going to be good because they had a real Emmy winner help put it together. You marry that with just the voice of Bob Kendrick, let alone if they wrote the scripts for him, which I'm sure they did not, but just his voice. He's like James Earl Jones as far as like iconic voices. I want him in Hollywood.
Bob, I don't know if you're going to hear me say this. I swear to God, I will start getting money together. I need you just to do home run calls at MLB The Show.
Oh my God. Or just like, what if he...
Nothing scripted for him. Just let him watch some balls get hit. And then whatever his reaction is, just record it, throw it in the game. And I don't care if you charge $10 for that home run call package. I will buy it twice.
Listen,
I swear to God.
The executives at Fox Sports, listen to me. Fire John Smoltz in an hour and give Bob Kendrick any amount of money to be a color analyst next to Joe Davis. I'm in.
Oh,
let him do the home run derby
story. Just it's again, and it's just his passion in the story. Like he has a cool cadence to him, and
he dresses well. He's the man.
Oh, dude, when I saw him in that suit, I looked at my wife. I was like, "Ooh!"
Not many people can pull that off, and it's not even like it's an outlandish suit. He just looked good in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then so you marry his voice, the storytelling, the narrative with the graphics and how they were able to use the 4 seconds of video that they had on some of these players and then modernize it with cool sounds and like colors and making things pop and the fonts like everything was great. I love that they had the iconic quote from every person. I mean it's almost perfect.
And then there was the whole, what was it? Was it Buck? Who was it? Let me look back in the listing of everybody. Who was it where they only had like 5 seconds of like a batting stance and they had
I thought it was either Donaldson or Dehigo because Ramon was saying during one of the streams they had to like recreate his from scratch because they didn't have enough video of him.
Yeah. It was
I thought it was Donaldson.
Was it Donaldson? I think you're right with Donaldson.
But I mean, I'm sure they barely had any video of like probably 3 or 4 of these guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, like that type of research, like we know, I mean, outside of the Citi Field jump up truck.
That is pure comedy. I hope they did that on purpose to be like, hey, Steve Cohen, we saw your big video board.
Yeah, like I really hope it stays, but like outside of that, like they do their research into getting things as right as they can. And what little video that you would have on some of these players, like they're able to get so much and give us so much more with it.
And you know that because this is a 5-year partnership, and money is being donated back to the museum. I loved, by the way, how in the Martin Tehigo one they put his foundation at the end. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, and it was also very tasteful. All of it was done tastefully.
I just think that this would not have been okayed and put in the game if it also did not get Bob Kendrick's final sign off. So that means it has his approval, and that is the most that's the most important thing.
Yeah. I mean, having him being involved as he is, and it wasn't just like a dialogue over video. It was him sitting down
in the museum
doing this interview, and then like you're literally driving people who just don't want to touch grass and grind a game to now leave their house and see so many people say, I got to go see the museum. I got to go. Like, we have to get a trip going. We got to do this. Like, that's
imagine how much incredible footage of Bob, how much incredible interview of Bob was left on the cutting room floor. SDS and Ramon, I know you're listening. If you're smart, you will produce all of it and put it on YouTube, and I will watch every minute of it.
I need the unrated version. I need the director's cut.
He does like a slow strut into some really saucy music.
I need not the Zack Snyder. I need the Ramon Russell cut. That's what I need.
We need the Ramon Russell cut of storylines immediately. Even if it's like unedited. If he spoke for 2 hours about each guy, I want it. I'll listen to it while I'm working. Like, I want to learn
too. Like, I feel like with him, you could just give him a mic. Here's the name of a player.
Well, he has the podcast Black Diamonds. I think that's his podcast. So I'm sure he talks about this stuff all the time. But like in this setting with this intention in mind, I want his thoughts on all these players.
Yeah, that's what I want too. And it's like, it's just, man, they couldn't have done this any better. Outside of the small little things like, oh, we want this, like make the videos unskippable, like learn the history, or like make them a little bit longer or unlock slowly. It's kind of like, it's all complaints to make us grind longer for it because we just want so much more from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't even call them complaints. I would just say like, these are things we hope for because like, we want it to last longer. You know what I mean? Like I hate to say there's no real incentive to replay them again right now, which that could change. Something could change in the future where it's like, hey, like we unlocked this. There's like one more. For all we know, they could surprise us on Jackie Robinson Day and just drop something. We don't know. Like, we don't know where they're going to go with this. It's all a surprise.
Or like maybe we earn the 99s later in the year by doing more storylines on them.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering. I feel like there's there's got to be a surprise coming for us. I'm sorry, you can't do storylines with Jackie Robinson Day coming around and then not do something. Yeah. You know?
And when it comes to skipping them, I agree that you shouldn't be able to skip them. I did kind of like that you could pause them though, because you never know like who's going to come downstairs while you're like focusing and like, oh no, the house is on fire, and I'm like, oh shit, let me pause it and go get the fire extinguisher. Like things happen.
Like when I was streaming it and I had to go to the bathroom, I'm like, oh, thank God I could pause.
Exactly.
I'm not running.
And I did like that after you complete a full player's storyline, you can watch the 6 minutes or whatever of video straight, because I don't want to play those moments again.
No, that's one of the good things too. Like, you could just watch it. That's why I said before, like in times where like my wife had to make a bottle, I would just throw on one of the videos and just kind of relearn it because it's just that interesting.
Yeah. I don't even like one of the unfortunate things about the way they gave us cards right now is even with the captain boost, there are already 5 better cards at every position just because of the way content is this year. So that kind of stinks. But but if you're a diehard,
versatile cards.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of Ohtani and what's his name from the Rays? What I forget his name. He was a player that he did like relief pitching for a second.
Wait, who are we talking about? Hold on.
Yeah, I can't think of his name offhand. He's like one of the wackier players on the Rays.
Currently on the Rays?
No, he's on a different team now.
Oh. Yeah, look up who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I kind of wish that they were like the juicy cards right now.
That's why I said I wish they were longer, because I wish these were 99s. But like when Ramon said like, oh, I recommend you do buck last, I was like, oh, like are these gonna be like one at a time? Like I thought there'd be slivers. And I thought they'd be a much longer grind. And not to say that I'm upset that it was a shorter grind. I love the fact that I could play them all. Because again, it just made it was something that it was a must play day one for me. Like day one, I had to jump in. Oh, Brett Phillips, that's his name.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I don't know how I couldn't remember that either. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just day one. I had to jump in. I had to play storylines. I was telling my wife, like, this is one of the modes I couldn't wait. And in a year where, as a Yankee shill, I got Jeter, storyline was a thing that I'm like, I have to play it right now.
And I lost my train of thought. You keep going. I gotta get my thought back. I had it. It was on the tip.
Just how big it was, and like I'm gonna pull up these player cards right now just to like go through them. But like these the ability to use them almost anywhere with certain cards is just amazing. And again, in a year where the big thing was Ohtani, we can do that now.
Yeah. Oh, like, I got my thought back.
Go ahead.
In my full-time life as a working professional, I occasionally will dabble a little bit in like, not video editing because I'm a terrible editor, but like what goes into the production of even like a 5-minute piece to be published. Like all the data you have to go track down, the photography you have to track down, the video, the graphics, the how many different pieces come together, what song fits this perfectly, what other like secondary and tertiary sounds fit in. To create a 5-minute piece, you're talking hours and hours of work. And for them to only have 4 seconds of footage for some of these things, it's actually insane. First of all, how it came out. And second of all, I can only imagine how much time went into it because you don't have a lot to work with. You think that makes it easier? It actually makes it harder.
It does. And just to say this, ready for this? Contact, righty lefty, 73 75, power 90 94, vision 76, clutch 78, 95 bunting, fielding is 85 92, 85 90, speed 83 and 60. Oh, by the way, he throws a 99-mile-per-hour fastball, curveball 78.
Is that Dahigo or Donaldson?
This is Dahigo. And then his secondaries.
And then you by the way, and then you captain boost him and he's even better.
Yeah, and like I said, his secondaries is literally every position. The only position that's not named is DH because that just wasn't the thing back then.
Yeah,
it's just this is a 90 card. Say what you want with that boost, you parallel it, get +4. You're looking at a monster. It's just so insane to me. Yeah. And then you go to his pitching. Yeah, his hits per 9 are a little low, but his stamina is 94. His Ks per 9 are 84. It's so insane to me.
Does the Buck captain boost? I didn't look. Boost pitching, or is it strictly offensive?
I'll tell you right now, actually.
I'm pulling it up as well. Power. No, it's just hitting. And it's all power.
Oh, it's just hitting?
Oh, no, okay. I'm sorry. I lied. I didn't see the other side. It's power versus both sides, and then hits per 9 and BB per 9. It literally, you'll create the best hitters and pitchers in this game by captain boosting it with Buck O'Neil.
Yeah. And that's what we were talking about again, like how the whole thing with Ohtani using like the Angels did was just them trying to figure it out, but they couldn't. But it was just a taste of what next year's thing was going to be.
Like Babe Ruth is now like chopped liver, right? I mean, and he was probably by many accounts a really shitty person. But like Shohei Ohtani is like stolen the spotlight. Now these guys have stolen the spotlight.
That's the thing too. Like now that you could actually use Ohtani the way you could use Ohtani, like you have guys like this where it's like, how do you not at least put one on the bench? How do you not? Like everyone, I know some of these players, like Satchel Paige, is going to be in my rotation for a very long time.
The only thing holding me back from using Satchel, and this is such a picky thing, is he takes 13 years to deliver a pitch.
Hey, that's perfect.
Maybe people get a little antsy at the plate, right?
Yeah, let them get a little antsy, but like, it's just the pure fact that like these guys are just, especially with the boost, are like end game outside of the 99s, and you haven't even paralleled them to P5 to get even more of a boost. Like that whole mentality is so crazy to me.
I just pulled up Martin Dahigo's card to look at it, like you were just reading all the shit off.
Yeah,
they had to make the font smaller to list his secondary position. Like that's how many places he plays.
Like it's insane. Like that's a card we have, and that's a day one card.
And it's not gimmicky. Like none of this is gimmicky. This guy was legit really good and played all these positions.
Yeah.
This is not like how they gave us the Jorge Posada second base card because he played 1 inning there in the final year of his career as a joke. This is like he legit played these positions.
Like, think of it like this: forget Ohtani and Babe Ruth taking a backseat to these guys in a mode about the Negro Leagues. Jackie Robinson is an afterthought.
Yeah, and he's not the most important player in the show, in the storylines. And again, not taking away from the man, but like he was the least interesting of the 8 to me because I knew. Well, again, we learned something still, but like I knew enough about Jackie Robinson to have a conversation.
Yeah, and Jackie Robinson in this game is a beast.
Before this morning, had someone said, "Hey, you ever heard of Martin Dihigo?" I'd have been like, "Who? Is he like a singer? Like who is Martin Dihigo?"
Yeah, and like even saying that, like just going back to like a small thing we talked about when you mentioned to him, like we heard about brothers and sisters, and I found that little top 10 female players in Negro Leagues, and then seeing Bob Kendrick react to it, like this man knows something, man.
Oh,
like
you don't think they already have 5 years mapped out?
Now here's my question though: what does year 5 look like? How crazy is year 5?
I mean, the
like you know what I'm saying?
Honestly,
like,
though, so coming off the shitstorm that was MLB The Show 22, the fact that I heard it was a 5-year deal made me relieved that this game's not going away for 5 years. I thought 22 was so bad, I thought they were going to close down the doors of SDS. I was worried.
They needed this.
Oh, this
mind
is
you,
huge.
people would have played regardless, but like they needed this to be such a home run.
They did two
and for
things
lack of a
this
better
year.
term, barrier breaking for the game
Yeah.
itself. Honestly, for lack of a better term, it just is what it is. Why? Because it puts more eyes on the game. More importantly, it puts more eyes on the museum. And even more importantly, it puts more eyes on these players who people didn't know even existed. I couldn't name half these people on this outside of Satchel Paige. You know, I know Shoeless Joe Jackson. I didn't know any of these guys. You know, and the comparables that you've looked them up, and I'm telling you guys who listen to the podcast, look up the players' comparables, and then you realize how immense this is and how big it will become year in, year out. And it's going to be insane. Like, I'm so excited for this.
They did two things this year. One of them being, we've said for years, Jeter won't be in this game unless he's on a cover. Why? Because he moves units. What did they do? They put him on the cover, and they're moving. I cannot wait to see how many units this game sells. And then secondly, they needed something that would sell to, like, historical buffs. Because this game, it's like, oh, here's a Al Kaline card. If you never heard of him, tough shit. Because we're not going to tell you who he is. And like,
some of the legends are if you're not, unless you're a Yankee fan, are your team only type of legends. Let's be for real here.
So like they gave people something like historically significant, barrier breaking, like this storylines is selling the game. Now, it's unfortunate if you're just buying the game for storylines, you're only getting like 5 to 6 hours. And I feel you if that is upsetting you. But like this is just the start. Don't worry, more will come.
And that's it too. You're gonna hear it. You're gonna hear it in your chat, like when people start playing the game, and they start asking you like, "How was storylines?" Like my wife was telling me as I was streaming, she goes, "How much you were smiling talking about storylines was so rejuvenating when it came to things because like, it's just such a great mode.
It's almost a one of a kind mode, not just an MLB The Show. Like you mentioned, Jordan had a similar one, but like, it wasn't done like this."
No, not to this extent. And not
this is the best moments have ever been used in this game. I don't want to play another moment unless it's done in a storytelling mode.
Yeah, like again, the Satchel Paige moment, bringing in the outfield.
Like Topps now is going to be even more of a grind than before because there's going to be no fun stories. I almost want to like watch the clip of Aaron Judge homer in his first at-bat of the season and then go hit the home run myself, you know?
Yeah, like it's just like that moment was cool. Like that was my favorite moment. Watching Satchel just wave on in the outfield.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, and then seeing them just take a knee behind them. And again, like, just imagining that type of balls to do that in that era, and just the cockiness out of doing it, too.
And you know, he's getting a Charisma Series card. Now that this series exists, that dude is getting a 99 Charisma Series because he might have been the most charismatic baseball player ever.
Bro, that story is like, yeah, I'll just throw my fastball only. And then you only had the fastball to choose from. Like...
It almost like obviously these people are real. They're very
Yes.
historically significant, but like it almost adds a mystique to them. Like every time Bob Kendrick was like Satchel Paige was either 42 or 52, might have been 62. We don't know. Like
That
we
too.
we all
Like, I
joke that
never knew
Albert
that.
Pujols, we joked that Albert Pujols was 5 years older than what he actually was. They actually didn't know how old Satchel Paige was. They had no
Mhm.
idea.
Like, they were like, yeah, he might have been like 42 throwing like 103-mile-per-hour fastballs.
His
And
headstone had a question mark on it for when he was born. He didn't share with anybody because the goat ate it out of the Bible. How
yeah,
cool is that?
like, it's just, man, it's just so insane, that small bit of story about him, and just not knowing how old he truly was when these feats happened.
He
Like,
might have thrown his last pitch at 65 years old. He might have been a
yep.
certified senior citizen. He would have. It's crazy. You think of Jamie Moyer existing until he's like 46, and Satchel Paige is like 20 years past that.
Yeah. And again, it just speaks to like how different baseball was for them. And then, like, even with the story of how the Negro Leagues were created, and like how Rue Foster like put it all together, and just trying to
Mm-hmm.
get like, no story felt like it wasn't necessary to the grouping of players they had.
Yeah.
Because even you had, what's his name, when they call him Satchel Paige's shadow,
Hilton Smith.
Hilton Smith. Like, even that story, like, how do you follow up Satchel Paige?
Yeah. And
Not only
maybe
that,
they said he might have been better.
yeah, not only that, do it effectively and better, where people are like, shit, now I gotta face this guy. You just faced Satchel Paige.
Yeah.
So you're worried about this guy? Like,
And I learned things I didn't expect to learn. And I guess that's generally the nature of learning. But like I went into this saying, I will learn about the Negro Leagues. I will learn about the baseball music. I'll learn about those things. Maybe I'm stupid. I didn't realize that like after the MLB season was over, they'd like take their clowny group of all-stars around the country and play fucking other teams from other places. Like I didn't realize Bob Feller was putting together an all-star team and touring the country.
I never knew that was a thing either. When I heard that,
It's crazy.
I was really surprised by that. Like,
Like
that I did not
we
know they
worry
did that.
about load management now. Meanwhile, Bob Feller's probably throwing 500 innings in a calendar year and he's fine.
Dude, Garrett Cole threw what, 6 innings, and we're like, oh my god, he's at 90 pitches, and now like,
Once that sixth inning started, I was clenching tight. I was like, oh, he's at his limit.
yeah, I was waiting for his Tanaka moment. Guaranteed home run. We didn't see it though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I learned like stuff I'm going to look into myself that piqued my interest. And if that was the ultimate goal of this mode, they nailed it.
Yeah, that was the thing too. Like, it makes you want to learn more, and like, yeah, we're always anticipating next year. Like, it's it's March 31st, and I'm waiting to see who they talk about for next year.
Yeah, I hope like maybe like a couple months from now, it's be like, hey, here's one legend coming next year. It's even if they announce like Gibson, like we know we're getting.
You know what I
like,
would love? Okay, you ready for this? Ready for this? I want on Jackie Robinson Day, I want them to be like, by the way, there's one more story to listen to, watch and play, and they just drop one on
that'd
us.
be cool.
Like, they just go, by the way, here's one more guy we didn't talk about. Like, just like, we don't know what their 5-year plan is. We don't know if more stories will be injected into storyline. We know that these are the ones we started with. The card art is too cool. How do you not have more?
And we know they're not going to be limited by people who are in Cooperstown because, like, as they said, Hank Thompson didn't make it to Cooperstown because his career kind of flamed out. So that opens the doors even more. We're getting people that no one's heard of.
Yeah. And that's something like talking about going to the list of the top 10 greatest players and then only one guy being on a list, and then Dihigo being an honorable mention. But yeah, Dihigo's an honorable mention on this list. It's just kind of like, what monsters have we never heard of before?
Yeah.
And
like
again,
Jackie Robinson's nowhere.
list.
Jackie Robinson's not on the top 10 list. He didn't play in the MLB long enough. But like, if we thought he was it,
yeah,
and maybe Satchel Paige. I think most baseball fans know enough about Satchel Paige to be like, oh,
yeah,
it's Satchel Paige. But
yeah,
I mean, everybody else is like, never heard of them.
yeah. Like, how many times I said Josh Donaldson multiple
I
times
accidentally said it in the video I made when they did the stream, and someone was like, you tried not to say it, and you said you weren't going to say it, but you said it. I was like,
yeah, I hate to say it, like, but it's just, to me, it's insane on how good of a mode it was for how short it became, for how short it is.
Yeah,
it's relatively short. I mean, you can knock it out in a 5-hour stream if you really wanted to.
mm-hmm.
But the fact that you want to go back and hope there's more, and that's rare to do in a game that involves so much grinding.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to add to a game like this, like with Team Affinity, with how big that undertaking is. Eventually, extreme moments, all these grinds for events and this and that. To be like, oh yeah, by the way, here's another thing you have to grind, and then be like, I need more of that. Like, give me all of that.
I hope they find ways to like incorporate these legends throughout the rest of the game now. Like I mentioned before, like, oh, what if they dropped more storylines to get their 99s? That would be cool. But like, what if Moments Extreme's grand prize was 99 Satchel Paige? Like,
I wouldn't be shocked if it was.
People
I would not be shocked if it was.
People would not sleep for 48 hours to get that card.
And then the grind to get the 1 of 1.
Yeah.
Give me, oh,
That's like history.
What?
That's
Hold
like
on.
history.
We don't have a pitching captain for the Negro League players.
No, we're gonna get one. We absolutely
We're gonna get one.
Well,
and
I mean,
99...
Buck O'Neil does boost their pitching, but technically he's not a pitching captain.
Yeah, but give me that 99 beautiful captain's card and give me a black and white Satchel Paige card. Find a photo for the Negro League players and just give me that gold. Just give me that amazing card.
It would be. I mean,
the animate, like the card art's beautiful, flawless. Give me some old school black and white photos. Like let's see what they had to work from to get these guys in their batting stances or their pitching motions. I
almost wonder if there were baseball cards of those guys and if they're even recoverable to see what they looked like. Like imagine we got recreations of their actual baseball cards. That'd be sick.
I'll tell you this, with Jackie Robinson, when talking to the guy with the case, he's like, the only thing he'd ever find is Major League Baseball associated. Like he's looked for those diamonds in the rough type of things. Like, there's almost nothing that I can find.
So part of me has, when you have a suspicion that's based in absolutely zero fact, but you're like, oh, I feel real good about this.
Yeah.
Okay. So
of course, that's how I felt about Jeter next year.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
They are announcing, when you guys are listening to this, they are announcing this week, meaning for us as recording next week, what the hell golden eggs are.
Yeah. What the?
So I have a stinky suspicion based in absolutely zero fact. A couple of things. Number one, I think golden eggs are going to be like in Madden, where if you get one, you can turn any card you want into a 99. Secondly,
okay. Oh no, not that. No, because it'll be the knuckleballer.
They're going to
be the knuckleball guy from the Orioles.
You can't use him online, so it's fine.
Okay, thank God.
They're going to be ridiculously rare.
Yes.
But I think my second stinky suspicion, and the stinkier of the suspicions, I think they are going to do multiple Moments Extreme paths this year because of how content is. Like every couple months, like more Moments Extreme, more Moments Extreme. And in every single one of those paths, there will be a golden egg and a Negro Leagues legend.
I like that.
I'm down for that.
Or, depending on how rare the golden eggs are and how hard they are to obtain, cash in a certain amount of golden eggs to get that 99 Satchel Paige.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? Like just like what the collections they do. From like what you see here, there's
almost like a different type of currency, kind of.
Yeah, because like if you look at collections now, you have the live series, you have the sets, which is a brand new type of thing they're doing, rather than the sets ones and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. There's really not a whole lot to collect.
No, and there's no. So you bring up a good point.
Negro League collection.
We were talking about this the other day. You technically don't have to keep right now, anyway, any diamond that's less than a 90, because you can't collect them. Technically speaking, you could sell all of them. I'm not, because I feel like that was an oopsie poopsie, and they're going to find a way for us to collect those moving forward. But like, that was strange to me. We're missing some stuff. And I don't think any of the storylines cards are collectible within the big set collection.
They're not. I'm looking at it right now.
They're not.
I'm about to get 99 Jazz Chisholm.
I got him and immediately just ignored him, because that might be one of the worst 99s ever created.
No.
Yeah, dude, he can't hit. He's 82-82 versus lefties.
Oh, okay. No, I'm good. I need that.
He's a good bench bat because he's fast, plays a bunch of positions that can hit righties, but he's not good.
Dang.
80 vision too was kind of rough, but whatever. Regardless.
Yeah. He's not. Yeah, they're not in this collection. They're not anywhere to be found.
Yeah.
Not in the GOATS collection. None of them are in the GOATS. Live series, starter collection, uniform. No,
they're not here.
They're not.
And they're 90s.
Yeah. So there's something to that. There's something to it.
We're missing something.
Like, that's again, and there's where Jackie Robinson Day comes into effect. They gotta have something planned for this.
Yeah.
And I really hope it's not a 99 Jackie Robinson. I love Jackie cards.
Well, I mean, we'll get that card eventually, but I hope
But
that's not what they give us on. Yeah.
Yeah, like I need something. Like,
No,
we
I
have
hear
our captain hitter. We need our captain pitcher now for this.
Mhm.
Which captains, by the way, I have no idea how that works, and I'll figure that out eventually.
I have not even tinkered with it at all because I'm so dead set in like, oh, I like this guy's swing. I like this guy's swing. There's definitely a meta. I watched Gunsky on YouTube this morning or yesterday. Can't remember. And he had Tim Salmon at DH, Mike Trout in center.
Okay.
And then to get the captain's boost, because you don't use the bench anymore, he just put 3 live series Angels on the bench, and he had Tim Salmon and Mike Trout with plus 15s. And I'm like, that's not a bad strategy.
It really is. And then you put Ohtani in the outfield too.
If you really, I don't think he probably had him in his bullpen or rotation, but he doesn't count for the hitting captain. Regardless, I was like, that's an interesting way to go about it. I never thought of it that way. And those guys on the bench get boosted too, so their live series stats are better also.
All you need is someone like you could put Hunter Renfroe on the bench or DH him, and
who's got crazy power,
and his swing is really good.
Yeah, and like you find the fastest live series Angel not named Mike Trout, put him on the bench for a pinch runner.
Yo, that's kind of nutty.
It's a decent idea, and like I still don't know how to
nutty.
crack that code, but that made me think a little bit.
Well, again, this is a year where they gave so much to us. With the only thing that really got the great explanation was storylines.
Yeah.
And then they phased it.
There's like, here's the rest.
Yeah, here's captain. There's a C. It does stuff. Good luck.
By the way, we have Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, and Derek Jeter. Here you go.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those guys. You forget. Like you have
forget that we have fucking Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire.
Which, by the way, Sammy's swing, I got him in a BR run.
Dude, he's elite.
Ooh,
I haven't really figured out Mark's yet, but I will, because he has an enormous hog.
Yeah, and this and that opens up even more players. Like I want my A-Rod in the game. Give me A-Rod.
Can I say something very honest? I'm a little upset that we don't have A-Rod in this year's game. Of all the things to be happy about, I'm a little upset. I thought they were going to spend as much money as possible.
I would have thought, and that's the thing too, when it's like, because the meme before the game came out, before I knew about Sosa and McGwire, was they blew the budget on Jeter. Because you had like Carlos Pena
and Tony Clark.
Kinsler. Yeah, like you had all these guys, and then like, oh, wait a minute, there's the Negro Leagues. Oh, wait a minute. Sammy Sosa, which by the way, can we just talk about the most SDS thing ever? And Ramon, I need you to hear me when I say this. Ramon, or anyone at SDS that hears this. Listen, the most SDS thing possible was it getting leaked on Comedy Central.
Yeah, of all places. In the middle of like South Park or some shit.
Like the joke is there.
Yeah.
I just need to know the reactions, guys. Just let me know, like, when Ramon got the phone call at like 3 o'clock in the morning, like, hey, Ramon.
He hit the alarm button. And not his like wake up alarm. He hit the SDS alarm button. He's got a bat phone in his bedroom.
Like you know, Nick Livingston is somewhere in a closet trying to figure out hitting again. And being like, hey, Ramon. Like, I'll never forget that video of Nick just when the contact had the same exit velo as power.
Mm-hmm.
And you just saw Nick like he hasn't left the basement in years.
Yeah.
And she's like, Ramon, it happened again. Like, does Ramon hit people? Like, like, does Ramon do the whole clipboard across the helmet when he gets into work?
So the reason I think that I'm upset that we don't have A-Rod also is because I tell myself lies in my head. And I created this incredible idea where we'd get Jeter, Nomar, and A-Rod on the cover at the same time. And I created it to the point in my head where I believed it was true. And
you wanted to manifest that.
So upset that didn't occur.
You were just hoping to manifest that.
How cool would that have been?
I like that idea. But like, I don't know, man. This year gives so many good vibes.
Yeah, I'm in a good place with it. There are bugs that need to be fixed that don't concern me long term because I think they really care about this title.
And that's like, these are bugs that can be, from what I've seen, like the pitching bug with pinpoint, it can be fixed with using analog.
Yeah,
like just go back to analog for the time being. Still get used to the stick movement. I don't know about the other ones. I know that's a big one.
The amount of lineouts is very frustrating. Like very frustrating.
Diving catches are back.
Yeah, but the throwing's harder, so it's whatever. In the outfield, I'm telling you, there are miraculous catches being made.
Let me tell you, the computer, the CPU has all-star Gold Glove defense against me. It's It's really disheartening when you watch someone do a backwards dive for a
I
ball.
got robbed a handful of times while trying to do storylines moments by like these super athletes, and I'm like, I can't even get mad because I'm playing a mode about people I've never heard of, but it's like, wow, that was like maybe the best defensive play of all time.
You know what I might do? I might see, I might do that. I might see if there's an Easter egg of like possible future players in the lineups you're facing.
I laughed at some of the names.
I wonder if they would do that. I just wonder.
I don't know. I laughed at some of like the computer generated names because they sound like us coming up with old timey baseball names.
Yes.
Like blatantly not real people. But it was fun regardless, and I had a blast with it. And I'm excited that I think the community at large is having a blast with it.
Yeah, I think the community has really taken this as like a massive win.
Yes.
For the game.
And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the hell they're doing next with it.
That's what I'm saying too, man. Like, it just makes you want to wonder what, like, I need the Marvel Cinematic Universe outline. That's what I need right now. Like, you're telling me we got 5 years planned. Let's just give me.
What's phase 2? Show me phase 2.
Yeah, like we're in phase 1. Like we're in phase 1.
As long as phase 2 doesn't have an Iron Man 2 type of scenario, I'll be happy. Hot take, that's the worst of the 3 Iron Mans. People hate on Iron Man 3. I think Iron Man 2 is worse.
I'm gonna say Thor: Dark World was worse.
That was maybe one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, like they don't give us that. Give us these players. And again, like I wonder, will we get these female players? And like, I do believe the community will welcome it with open arms.
Some will not, and they can go play in traffic.
Yeah, some won't. And you know what, man? Like, if that's the life you want to live, go for it. I can't tell you, but I can tell you this: like, it'd be a great step forward for a game that it's I don't know, man. Like, even like when they mentioned it that one time and you see Ashley on screen, like she just smirked just a bit.
She knows.
Like, Ashley, love you to death. You have a terrible poker face. You smirked. So you gave the slightest little smirk, and I'm like, all right, who is she? Who's in the game?
You know, she signed an NDA. She knows things.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like, she just gave a little just a little corner smile, and I'm like, there's someone.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Maybe there's some ones. Maybe there's multiple.
And that's it too. Like, not having a daughter, like that'd be kind of cool to let her have her own representation in this game. You know,
I'm in. Whatever they want to feed me, as long as it does not take a step back, I'm in.
Totally. I don't think they're going to take it. I think the game, and that's another thing too, with this national coverage, with all this attention, that brings more attention to the studio. More attention to the studio. Thank you. Money. Funding, more money to get a bigger server, get things the way they wanted to. Like,
servers feel pretty good so far. Knocking on wood. Everyone's going to be upset that I jinxed it, but they feel good.
I've been saying for a while that like they were taken by surprise when Xbox was first introduced because it was free on Xbox Marketplace. They got taken by surprise, so the servers weren't up to par yet. Nintendo, I don't know why they involved Nintendo.
Yeah, it had to try to figure out how to communicate with a Switch, which is like a great system. One of my favorite systems of all time. It's not made for that type of game.
Bro, I played a game on the Switch last year. Once I hit a home run. It was a no doubter. The guy hit the animation and then the ball froze and then he was rounding the bases. Whatever.
The Nintendo Switch is a Zelda and Pokemon machine, and that's it.
Yeah, it's not made for this. I even tried the console grinding. It just didn't work out for me. But this is just making it bigger and giving the game the attention it needs, and possibly Sony or Xbox being like, hey, let's put some more money into this game. Let's get it going the way we want to. Because now, for the first time in a long time, I feel like MLB can now compete with the Maddens.
Oh yeah, I think people 2Ks. Are fed up with those games.
And that was the thing too. That was the big gripe for this year. That's why this year needed to be a win. That was the year was what it was in 22, and then the big thing was Madden listened to its customer and consumer base. They did all these changes. Madden died within like week 2.
I don't play Madden. I will watch some people stream it if I am fans of the streamer, like Dimu and obviously people like that. I have never seen Madden die so fast. NCAA 14, which admittedly is a fun mod that they've created, killed Madden.
That's the thing too. Like, Madden killed MLB's viewership because it was a new game, all this touted success. About a month into it, NCAA 14 was killing the game, and then like now with MLB with where it is right now, it just feels like our game finally can compete with these other games and their viewer base.
It's cool, and because baseball is not as like widely loved, which is a weird thing to say because it's across the country, it's the biggest other than soccer. NBA, basketball might compete, but like people will kill someone for football.
Yeah.
But it feels like we're making some inroads here, and that feels good.
That's great for the community because like we feel it happening. It's not just like, okay, cool, the game's a little bit better, like awesome, we'll get some eyes on it. We're getting national. Ramon's on national fucking TV. Excuse my language. Like, Ramon.
He is going to become a C-tier celebrity, and I just hope he doesn't leave us.
He better not leave us. Better stay his ass here.
Ramon, you heard it here. Don't go anywhere. I'll pay you $5 whole to stay.
Ramon, listen, stay with us. I know that we blamed you for everything.
I need your memes for Whiteboard Wednesday. I need to blame you every time I need to yell about something.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's just, man, I'm so glad with how they changed things for the game this year.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing.
We're in a good place.
Yeah, it's amazing to be here after the last 2 years. And it just makes me happy that even if I don't, even when I end content creating, years from now, I'm still going to want to play MLB The Show.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not going to stop playing.
Yeah. There's no reason to. It's going to get better and better.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right, and everybody, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. We're coming right up on an hour. I think we covered. I think we talked about storylines for longer than the actual cumulative videos were, which means we need longer storylines videos.
We need more. We need them to be longer. We need them to be 99s off the rip. Ramon, give me the 99s.
Where are the 99s, Ramon? But yes,
that's too. The I mentioned the stadiums. Such a win.
Oh, they play so
playing
nicely,
there,
and they
such
look
a great
great.
win.
They look great.
Yeah,
I love them. I hope everybody has enjoyed storylines as much as we have. Please let me know down below if you loved them. Maybe if you have other constructive thoughts, who your favorite of the legends, and just let me know all of your thoughts. I know you guys have them. Thank you for being my guest, my third guest, to be honest, a second time. You're joining elite company.
Oh,
of Scan and Nutsy.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. When you think MechaReptar, those are the other two you think of, right up there.
But where can all the homies find you if they have not found you already?
Well, if right now we are running an amazing charity stream on my stream for Able Gamers. The next giveaway actually is a Juan Soto jersey.
Damn.
So it's autographed, but you can find me at MechaReptar, pretty much everything.
Yes, and
MechaReptar 89.
I will make sure that is displayed so you guys can go find him. Really, thank you again for being on. We will.
Thank you for having me, man. This is a lot of fun to do this.
Yes, and I hope everyone is enjoying your grind 99s. I hope your teams are looking spicy. And
also,
I hope
nice change of pace from last year, right? Last year we were like, this game needs to change.
Yeah, such a angry, sweaty conversation last year.
Yep, and then here we are, like, this game's amazing.
Like, wow, look at us with all these rainbows over our heads. What is going on? It's so much better for my mental health.
My wife's laughed at that one.
I say that semi-jokingly, but also 100% seriously.
Oh, she's laughing. I'm sorry. She gets it. She understands.
Yeah, like the amount of times that I have gone upstairs after like a couple hours of playing, and my fiance is like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I don't want to talk about it. I just got fluked to death." And she's like, "What does that mean?"
The amount of times I would scream at the game when it's the number 9 hitter with 13 pitches in the at bat, being like, "You're a fucking nobody."
No.
So, yeah, she gets it.
All right, this was fun. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoy it. Leave your thoughts down below. Like, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff you're supposed to do. And I will see you next time.
You guys later.